Be nice to Jenkins? Absolutely not, dude. I'm gonna literally destroy him.
Banana slam jam.
Welcome, everybody. This is Pro Bono Replay Review BSJ with you today to review Jenkins Offlane Razor. Last night, I was watching him play, and I kept watching him make a bajillion mistakes, and I said, send me the replay ID, I will review it and roast your ass. So you know what? I haven't played any Offlane Razor yet this patch, so I'm not going to review the items specifically. A little bit sus to me, but they are okay. So we're not going to worry too much about the items. We're going to focus more on like core fundamentals of offlane that Jenkins did that made me want to puke. So let's talk about this. Gonna fast forward. Jenkins talking to his chat, bitching about how there's Smurfs and account buyers in Dota, and how it distracts him from playing his game, and how he hates the Surf Spirit, and the Surf Spirit hates him. Really distracting him from playing the actual game itself. Really focused on external factors that absolutely mean nothing. If you need to check the VOD, it was on the 15th of March. Okay, starts off with a link, that's fine. Okay, doesn't get denied, very cool. One thing I feel about your CSing on Jenkins here is that everything's really predictable. So what I've realized when I'm CSing as any hero that has like really low base damage, that if the opponent represents no threat on me, I'm supposed to literally just fuck with them. This is what Quakefoot taught me. So these are the type of scenarios where, for instance, this melee creep right here, you're supposed to position yourself like right here, and then you're supposed to just pump fake the creep like 9 times. Like you're just like look like you're having like a spastic attack where you literally are, you know, your whip is controlling you rather than the other way around. And instead, if you watch your CSing, it's just incredibly predictable. Like you turn around, you hit it. Turn around, you try to hit it. There's no like pump fakes in here. There's no messing with the Slark. It's very easy to CS against you when I was watching the lane. So now is the next step that I want to get to. So what's going to happen here is that Slark is underneath his tower getting CS. We know that he's underneath his tower. And so what happens is that we need to kill this camp ASAP. Because you're trading a creep wave, the creep wave over here, for the creep wave that Slark got underneath his tower. So you have to be done over here by the time Slark is done at his tower. And if you are not done at the same time Slark is done, then you're just going to miss creeps.
Thanks.
Slark got an extra 2 denies and 3 creeps uncontested. And that was all because when you drag the creeps over here, or when your Earth Spirit dragged, and then the Slark is now underneath tower here, this situation, you need to know your time that you're allowed to be over here is however long this takes to die. And it's a big deal, because if this takes longer, you saw what happened. And I was watching this, I'm like, I can't believe he's chasing this disruptor instead of prioritizing killing this camp. That is what I was thinking while watching it. Like, this just does nothing. Instead, it makes you late for the next creep wave. A little small tidbit. You saw Disruptor run right here. You know for a fact he sees you killing this camp because his creeps are literally on the camp. And since you saw him walking over, you have to assume he's going to go for this creep. This is a big creep at a minute 20. Assuming he were to get the last hit instead of you, that's like 130 gold swing. So what I'm saying is, if that doesn't motivate you to use spells to like get the creep, I don't know what else does. So I definitely level your Q and nuke this freaking big creep right now. Instead, neither of you gets it, fortunately. But that's 70 gold loss at minute 40. You combine the big creep with the creep wave, you've now missed 150 gold and merely 2 minutes into the game. So you do end up having a pretty cool play here where you block the pounce. That was pretty cool. End up getting the kill. Very nice. Push it into his tower while he's dead. Get a few extra denies. Get a defensive creep aggro. This was all good. Not going to just bash you. That was all nice. Well managed, well played. Pump faking the static. Pretty good denies there. So, this isn't all going to be flame. If you're doing the right thing, I'm going to give you credit. This is all good. Now, lane's underneath your tower. You have it all to yourself. Gonna fast forward here. Decent CSing under tower. Gonna 1v2 this shit. Force a glimpse on yourself. This is very good. Maybe I'm just a carry player. Dude, there's like 3 fucking creeps of golden experience right there, man. Maybe I'm just a carry player. That's 3 creeps worth of experience. I don't know. That's tough for me. I wouldn't have gone for that bounty myself, but, you know, to each their own. That's not a flame and saying you're wrong, but 3 creeps of experience in this matchup that's so snowbally, I might have just taken it, man. It may seem like I'm prioritizing my own game more than others, but I would say that your experience compared to this Slark is very important. Okay, force a reaction and back off. So what you could do at the very least, I'm actually gonna rewind because I'm gonna be a little more fancy here. If I were you here, rather than going for these denies, I would be hitting these creeps. And if I want to go for the runes, right now, you could, like, starting from right here, you could A-click this Beastmaster and drag these 3 creeps to, like, maybe right here. And if that's the case, you're probably not getting the CS, but you're going to get the experience as well as the bounty rune. So if you want to prioritize the bounty rune because you have an Alk, that makes sense. I think there's a lot of little things you could have done to, like, either ensure that you get more of these creeps, or ensure that you get at least the experience of these creeps over here, rather than just completely sacrificing these. So now that I see you have an Alk, it does kind of make sense that you want to prioritize the bounty, but you're definitely known to be way too sacrificial as an offlaner, and I think this is like an example where you don't prioritize your own game, and you could have. Because you're not going to be late to the bounty, it was only 452. Okay. I don't mind that death. You were pretty low health, low mana, and you forced 2 people here. You got the kill on Slark first, and this basically serves as a reset for you. So I don't hate it. It's not great, but I don't hate it. Those type of deaths are kind of fine. It gives you a free trip to base in exchange for killing the carry. So this is where you confuse me, Jenkins, because I actually proceeded to watch your next Razor game. And just to give you guys a commentary, I love Jenkins. I've met him in person. He's a great guy. Love giving him shit as well. He's like the perfect type of guy to give shit to. So just so you guys know that, like, I'm also a psychopath that he tells you in all of his videos. This is where, as many times as I've talked to Jenkins about Dota, the dots just don't connect to me. So he gets into his next game of Razor, and he says something along the lines of, he says it in both games. He says, wow, this is something that's so weird, and this happens every game. I get level 6 or 7 on Razor, and everyone just leaves, and nobody comes back. That's what he says. He said something along those lines. And for me, I was like, okay. So now what you're telling me is, literally telling me, you're not like just having it happen to you, you're explicitly telling me it's happening to you, that at level 6 or 7 the opponent stops laning against you. So I would proceed to ask somebody of Jenkins caliber, rank 270, immortal, if nobody is laning against you, which spell would you level? If nobody's laning against you, like, what would your plan now be if nobody is laning against you? And to me, it seems really obvious. You want to start pushing the wave. You want to start pressuring the tower. You want to force someone to come back and lane against you. And you want to accelerate your own farm. So you would level your Q. And yet, both games I watched you play Razor, you openly commented that nobody was laning against you, and then you leveled your W. I cannot connect the dots. This ability only does something if somebody's in your lane. And yet you sit here while your teammates are getting ganked and such, not pushing the lane as fast as you could be. You now like, oh shit, I guess I should push the lane. Pop your ultimate. Why is this something that has to be like, oh shit? Why can't you just literally follow the recognition of the situation that you said live on stream during the game? How can you recognize the state of the game and not adjust to it? Jenkins, Dota, my friends. This is what was making me really upset. Because I'm like, he actually knows. And then he's just not. So now we're going to push the tower. Imagine if that was 3 points in your queue. That'd be like 4 less auto attacks on those creeps. And this whole race for killing bottom tier 1, it adds up. This is a situation where I think Boots of Travel are really nice for your hero because of the move speed, as well as the global presence of split pushing dangerous parts of the map. But I don't think you can really split push by yourself anyways. You're against Disruptor, Beastmaster, Pango, Lesh. Like a decent amount of kill threat on you, a lot of damage. And what is happening here is that it's taking you a lot of time to kill bottom tower. And in the midst of the time it took you to kill bottom tower, they killed top tower and mid tower. So I realized this in my Death Prophet game, because very similar heroes, right? They kind of like grief the opponent's safe laner, they pressure them out of lane. The only difference between Death Prophet and Razor is that Death Prophet has a natural way to kill the tower. But with Death Prophet still, a lot of times if you pop your ultimate, they'll bring like 3 heroes, stop you from taking the tower, and then it's your job to have as much impact when you don't have ultimate as possible. So similar heroes in that regard. When Death Prophet has no ultimate, they're very similar. And what I realized is that in all of my games of Dota, my tempo for killing this tower has to be raised according to how much tempo the opponent has killing my own safe lane tower. So like if we rewind to the part where is your safe lane tower still alive? Yeah, so your safe lane tower is still alive. So this is the part where if you have and I don't want to say if you have game sense. You have to start using your game sense to realize that the death of this tower needs to be about the same as this tower, or at least as close to it. Because if it's not close, what happens is the opponent gets this tower, and all of the time that you're spending taking this tower, the opponent's going to go from this tower to your mid tower. And so what happens is, if that gap of them taking this tower is too long in comparison to you taking bottom tower, then they're pretty much just going to get your mid tower for free. So like I'll show you. They're going to smoke. Notice how this whole time you're killing this tower. And imagine if we killed bottom tower 10 seconds sooner. You're still killing this tower. By the time you've killed the tower, your team is already getting dove. And your mid tower is already dead full to 0. So I know you end up rotating in here and getting kills. But this is an example of something that really bothers me when I see my offlaners do this. Is that this is a game that I think you had to buy treads. I think you absolutely had to buy treads. Because it is the only item. If you combine buying treads with maxing this skill instead of putting a 4th point in this, you definitely kill this tower 5 to 10 seconds sooner. And then you're at this fight before your mid tower is dead, as they're getting smoked to your tower. And instead of just turning for kills, you're actually like preventing the tower push in the first place. So by leveling your W into a 4th point and not buying treads, you gave up your mid tower. That is what just happened here. And in this one, I was watching you. And I feel like I would flame a 2K player for doing this. Guys, this is Jenkins Dota, rank 270 Immortal. Let's look at his health and mana. And he goes base. What?
gift from the tempest of battle.
So, for the people who don't always watch my videos, but I want to encourage you to like embrace my mindset on Dota, is both teams are usually going for the same thing, and it's a race to who gets there first. And a lot of it is understanding how fast your hero can do what it needs to do, and understanding how fast the opponent does what they need to do. So in this case, because Beastmaster is such a high pressure hero on the opponent's safe on your own safe lane, it's really important, if possible, to match that pressure. So like if that Beastmaster was something like OD, where he's not going to get that tower until Meteor Hammer, which is 3 minutes later or whatever, then you can maybe play a bit greedier on Razor, where you have the option to go Boots of Travel instead of Treads. So that's one example, where you're not matching the pace of the game that the opponent is threatening you with. But secondly, Dota's all a race to get all the farm on the map, to like pressure lanes on the map. And so when you're 80% mana and 100% HP and you go to base and just stand there for like 20 seconds, that's like so bad. I don't know how to explain it, but you lose so much momentum on the map where like the lane that you should have pushed, maybe bottom in this case, is just not pushed. Maybe you could have pushed top and then Alk would have pushed bottom, something like that. But now like one of your lanes is just not going to be pushed because you had absolutely no sense of urgency. And I know for Jenkins specifically, I've talked about certain people I've coached. He's like the dog that is like, you're playing fetch with the dog, and he's like super focused on the bone, and he's just so ready to go chase that bone, and then a cute little butterfly flies by, and he's just like, fly, and then just completely forgets where that bone is. He just completely forgets about the bone. He knows exactly what he's supposed to do with the bone. He knows exactly what it looks like. He knows perfectly how to catch it and retrieve it. And he just gets immediately randomly distracted by some random ass shit that goes through his head. And it makes no sense to me. I don't understand. He's like this little puppy. He just wants to go chase that butterfly. And a lot of you guys do this. And it's actually really bad to lose like sense of urgency and lose sight on the game for even like 15 seconds. It matters so much. Because in this case, imagine if what move you're making here, which is a fine move, is the same, but this lane is right here. Like, the bottom lane is, like, all the way pushed in. It's, like, the exact same move, but calculatedly better. It's just objectively better. Because you're putting nice pressure on mid-tower in regards to, like, you're forcing heroes to defend it. But if you look at the map, they're not actually losing anything. The opponent is not, like, losing farm. If you shove this lane into their tower, and their tower is, like, killing the creeps, and you've killed these 3 creep waves, you've effectively gained net worth, and you're pressuring mid tower. But you're just, like, pressuring for, like, no reason. And then you end up TPing bottom anyways. Usually, when we don't do something earlier, we try to take an objective, we end up going to what we should have done earlier before we take that objective. That's usually how Dota works. It's like, oh, I need to push this lane to get mid tower. I could have done it earlier, but since I didn't, I guess I'm going to go there now. That's, like, what happens every time. Like, by me bringing up the attention that bottom lane not being pushed, Jenkins, he's ranked 270 Immortal in the American continent. He knows this. He knows that, like, he realizes that, like, after 30 seconds of sitting mid, oh, I should have pushed this lane. But, like, this is manifested by you going to base. And then all of these lanes you're trying to push, how many times have you linked somebody since level 7? I think maybe once, twice, max, compared to, like, how many times you've spammed a plasma field. And you have 3 points in this and 4 points in this. So the beauty of somebody like Jenkins that you can learn from is that he will eventually do the right thing. That was an absolutely correct rotation. He TP's bottom, pushes the lane in, runs back towards mid, runs into the opponent carry, bullies him out of that area, forces reactions back to mid, and now he's either going to run top or go back bottom. Instead, he's actually going to fight. I don't know about this. I actually didn't remember this when watching the game. So let's talk about Jenkins Dota. What makes Jenkins Dota? Beautiful move to bottom. Beautiful pressure on the Slark. Forces the entire enemy team mid. Can farm the entire map. Everything's his oyster. The entire enemy team is stuck in this, like, small little circle right here. Let's just run back into them. Fuck it. And feed that Slark that we just bullied out of that area. Jenkins, Dota. Jenkins, Dota. I don't know why, Jenkins. I don't know what it is about you. You know so much about the high MMR, like, strategy of Dota. And you make so many good plays, and then you just completely ruin them. Like, you just ruin the plays. I don't know. Like, that death is just so stupid. I can't fathom it. It's so bad. Like, for how much I know you know about Dota. Like, now you just go top, like I said you should have done earlier. You end up going where you should have gone anyways. That's what happens. Great, we push in top lane, we TP to a fight. This is exactly what was supposed to happen. We just had one extra feed later. What makes Jenkins rank 270 instead of top 100? That random ass fucking feed. If you remove that feed, his moves on the map are pretty solid. If you remove him going to base with 80% mana and 100% HP, what he did was absolutely correct because he went back mid, but he should have pushed bottom rather than walking base. Like, that was all it is. He knows what to do on the map. He knows. But yet, somehow it doesn't translate. So we get a mid tower off it. Great. Force heroes mid. Go top. Please go top. Okay, we're going top. Nice. Nice, Jenkins. We learned. Nice. Nice. We have now forced them to ball up, and then we walked somewhere else. This is great. And then we TP back to the fight. This is fantabulistic expialidocious, dude. This is great. This is exactly what you're supposed to do. All it took was like 4 tries. That was great. That was fantastic. You force them to group up. You split up real quick. They make some overextension play, and then you TP back. That was actually awesome. That was great. Then you push bottom. This Leshrac does some Papega shit. Probably could have died there, actually, if he landed the Yules on you. But that's kind of irrelevant. You go for the BKB, so you're looking to fight. I'm down for that. They can't kill you in BKB, pretty much, unless you get roared with 4 heroes hitting you. And this is good pressure. You're forcing them to react. They're doing some stupid shit in return. You're going to dive them. They're in their own dead lane fighting you for some reason. Fine with me. Okay. Now we should just TP base. Sweet. Reset, reset, reset. Okay. Gonna build the S and Y because we're against Beastmaster. I can dig it. Okay. There you go. BKB coming in hot. Okay. This is all good. I like this. This is great. This is fantastic. Now we're going to TP bottom. Okay, we TP top. Okay, I don't hate that, actually. Okay, I can get behind that. I can get behind that. TP top is good. And then that. Okay, okay, okay. You know what? I'll say Jenkins. I think this is proof. Yeah, you guys are ahead. The game's like, you know, going your way or whatever. But these map movements for the last, like, 5 minutes have been really good. These map movements have been fantastic. Like, you've been pretty swift with your decision-making. You TP base and reset, run to the right lane, push it out real quick, go take fights, and it's worked out. You guys have gone from, like, a 4K lead to a 16K lead in, like, 5 minutes. I think if you guys watch this, you can agree with me that all of his map movements are actually awesome. Like, they're great. So, why does it start at 15 minutes rather than at level 7? You know, why does it start there? That's the big question.
Can you make a video?
I do believe. So yes, so Jenkins, great map movements for the last like 5 or 6 minutes, and I want this to be proof, if not like everything else I've tried to do in the past, that Immortal players do make these mistakes. A lot of times, the same mistakes you're making are the mistakes they're making. It's just the amount of time Jenkins is going to make this mistake is less than you guys. And he's also playing against players who are going to make better decisions than you guys are playing against. So, like, the Beastmaster is going to be better than, like, your 4K offlaner, obviously. So like this Beastmaster, we have to assume he's going to do things correct. He's going to kill that top tower, and then he's going to swing and kill that mid tower. So like that window that Jenkins has for error is much lower than that of like a 4K, 5K player. That's like what I want to emphasize from this replay. But if you see it, it's still such a huge deal. All the timings that we missed this game, and the openings that we gave the opponent, and then the plays we made being either forced or like not capitalizing on forcing the opponent to group up, and we just walk back into them. There's been like 4 or 5 crucial errors in this game that I really got triggered by watching a stream, because it probably triggers me the most when I know somebody knows this shit. In Jenkins' case, he's probably one of the most triggering people to watch, because like if you hear him talk about Dota, he understands it really well, and he knows a lot of what he's doing, and he knows a lot of what he's supposed to do. And yet this is the result sometimes, where that run back into death mid, it just makes no sense. Where running back to base with 80% mana, it just makes no sense. Chasing after that disruptor when he's level 1, it just makes no sense. You know, not pushing that bottom lane before going mid, it just doesn't make sense when you think about how much he knows about Dota. So I hope you guys actually enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun, a lot of good plays from Jenkins, but also a lot of mess ups, or like 3 or 4 crucial mess ups. And that I personally believe that mess ups, that's the difference between like a rank 270 and a rank like top 100. That's what I believe. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that little replay. And Jenkins, you know, hope your ego is still intact, whatever's left.